Welcome to Soulful Sundaze.
Okay, it sounds right.
Come on now, drum roll.
I think there's something to narrowing down that sister circle.
Welcome to Soulful Sundaze, where we are bringing you soul-inspired conversations. What a better way to have a conversation with my soul sisters in the kitchen with an intimate space. And we're going to bring our heart and soul to uplift you and inspire you. I am your host, Lena Anthony. These are my beautiful co-hosts, Judy Johnson. Hey, y'all. And Raquel Ballou.
Hey.
Today we have an amazing guest. I mean, all of our guests are amazing, but
this
she is amazing. She's a treat to you guys. On this episode, it is the cost of fame.
Yes.
I am bringing you a development artist, Grammy Award winning development artist, performance coach.
Yes.
And the founder of the Rose Effect, KJ Rose.
Cheers, KJ!
Salute.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us.
Cheers. Thank you for being here.
You are our soul sister today. So tell the audience about yourself before we get into this amazing topic, the cost of fame, which is lovely.
Because
that
it
you're
is a
here.
hefty price.
But I want them to know more about you and what you do.
Sure. My name is Kiana, KJ Rose Henson. My mama named me Kiana. KJ Rose was because I started as a background singer. I sang for Heavy D, Biggie, Britney Spears, Justin Timberlake, Janet Jackson, Monica. However, when I wanted to kind of like go to the next level, I would take meetings and people would say, oh, the background singer Kiana. So I had to just kind of redo it. So even if it was for a couple of seconds, for people to think I was somebody else and give me a fair shot, then that was just kind of a better placement. And so started in that field as a background singer. And then I started working I got to a point where I felt like my career was predicated on when other people worked. It was great when there was like a huge learning curve as a background singer, learning at really other people's expense and just understanding what the music business is all about. But I think when you get to a point where you have to understand the difference between when you are just existing in a comfort zone and when you're still actually learning.
Wow.
And so I just was like, this is great. I'm traveling. I'm like, we're in Australia. We got one song to do. Yeah. So it was like being in this space where you're doing what you love and you get paid for it. Wow. After a while, I just didn't want to look up and be 75 and I got one skill set. Wow. So I think I got to a point where I was a little bit afraid to step out on my own. And I said, people will always need background singers, but I really need to take this leap of faith and move into my own artistry and putting out my own stuff. And so, but nobody pays you to do that. Nobody pays you to work on your own stuff.
Not at all.
You gotta pay yourself. So I went to work for Clive Davis as his assistant for a year and a half. And I never told him that I sang because I just thought it was pretty trite to have an assistant that's like, I'm a singer too. Are you gonna sign me? But for every apple I cut, I want to be like, do you know what?
Yeah.
Every tea I had to pour.
Stop.
I was like,
that's when you sing through the office like,
right. I was just trying to make sure that he respected me for the job I actually got hired for.
Yes, good.
But at the same time, I was just collecting information. So for every task I had to do, which was also a teachable moment. I tried to make myself know it was a teachable moment. I would ask him a question. Why did you choose this as a single? You know, what did you like about this? Why do you think it's doing well on the chart? So I'm like, oh, we gonna have a conversation.
Yeah.
And so
I ain't just gonna get no coffee.
Right.
Get some knowledge.
Right. And before he knew, I don't even think he realized it, but I think that's when I developed the ability to project. It was like I had to open these huge burgundy oak doors every day. And you couldn't be timid. You couldn't be like, so I wanted you to know. You'd be like, what? What are you saying? And so I was just like, what you had asked me to do yesterday. So it
Sergeant.
So it was like I developed this level of confidence, this posture that said, if you're gonna go for it, then go for it, right or wrong. And so that's where I started in terms of being an assistant. And then from there, I went back on the road with Janet Jackson because I felt like they don't see who I am. They don't see me up in here. So I don't want them to get too far away from being able to imagine me as an artist.
Yes.
And so it was funny because when I did give him my 2-week notice, it was that I was leaving and going on the road with Janet. So for somebody that never knew I even
was
sang,
like,
Janet, hold up.
right. So I was like, this is the one day he was like in a meeting with all of his constituents, and so I brought in, I think, some tea. And he was like, does everybody know where Kiana's going? Number one, I didn't know he knew my name, like to pronounce it and punctuate it like that. And so he was like, she's going to sing with Janet. I mean, he said, she's going to dance with Janet. I was like, sing. She's going to sing with Janet. And so at that moment, even though, and I talk about just the importance of pivots, right? And knowing that if you just honor the space that you're in, it may not lead you to where you thought you should be, but there's still a win in it.
Yes.
Right? And that win was that we became, well, I'd like to think we became soft friends. Soft.
Yes.
Like, I can't call him tomorrow, but soft.
Hilarious.
Email.
You never know. I was gonna say.
I know
You can name drop
He knows my name.
Yes.
He knows your name. And I sent him my song, and I'd say, hey, what do you think about this song? And it's so funny because his response would be the same response that I had to email to other people. And I'm like, but this is me. I know.
Be like, Clive, I
Don't
know
say
who's
this to me. But he was just like, I'm sure you understand my candor, but I don't necessarily see a radio hit. And I'm like, that's all right, one day. But the fact that I could have that exchange, you know. Then I left there, and then after Janet, I was like, okay, enough is enough. I need to work on my own stuff. So then I went to Sundance Channel, which was only supposed to be about 2 weeks, but it was for 6 years.
Oh, wow.
Howsomever, while I know that was so
Howsomever.
unseemly. But while I was there, again, I utilized every department. So, Kelly worked in marketing. So when I started putting my album together, she was very instrumental in that. Yvette worked for the president of Sundance at the time, but she was also a stylist. So I started putting all the elements together for my album, and they allowed me to sing at the Sundance Film Festival.
Wow.
I sang, they used my voice on a lot of the shows. So it was like I started to expand, because before I think I was very narrow in my thinking, and I was like, oh my God, my love for TV and music could coexist.
Yeah.
And somebody had celebrated because they really understood the independent spirit and the need to celebrate that. So from Sundance, 6 years later, I was like, okay, I think I'm supposed to be doing something else. And so after touring, so I toured for a while on the weekends, put out the album, and after a while, the record label started asking me to help their artists to have more stage presence. Which was interesting because it was the same labels I was trying to play my music for. So they didn't think I was good enough to be an artist, but they liked my performance. And this is where my wisdom.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But I had to, and this is where ego could go right or go wrong, right? Because I was like, I could actually just be like, no, I'm not, you don't want my music, my album, I'm not doing nothing. But it caused me to say, okay, maybe there's something else in this. Maybe the talent is the singing, but the assignment is the coaching. And so but I wanted to make sure I wasn't gonna be no bitter coach, right? Because if you don't find resolve and not feeling like that is a natural progression as opposed to you find yourself somewhere by default, then you'd be like, if I was you, I would just turn around and
Go home. So all the
new talents
do
got
right.
from all the wrong things.
Right, and so I wanted to make sure that I had the pure heart of an artist to speak the language to another artist. And so
You are just glowing. You are so beautiful and brown and with them brown eyes, girl. I'm sorry. I always celebrate. I love my light-skinned girls, but when I see a little extra melanin, I have to celebrate it because I'm a brown girl and I know that that's a fight too. And you're just so beautiful. I just want to say.
I like to say, had I not watched your episode with Brayley, I might have said, girl, that is the bronzer. I did. I sat here and I said, thank you. As you are too, my beautiful
Thank
sister.
you. Hey, Brown. Brown know brown, honey. And Brown know a struggle.
Come on.
I gotta point out, well, I just wanted to, I want to say at every turn in your life, there was a cost. Whether it was time, whether it was patience, whether it was ego, whether it was the sacrifice. And I gotta commend you because every door led you to the next door to give you a well-rounded understanding, not just of the industry, but who you are in the industry, so that you can explain to this world, here I am, and I offer this. Whereas a lot of people come into this industry saying, what do you want me to be? What do you want me to be? Oh, okay, I'll shift, I'll turn into this. And it's always a never-ending battle of, losing more
Right.
and more of yourself,
Right.
as opposed to saying, I'm going to plant my feet, let my root take its
Right.
course, and blossom into this thing that these doors show me this is who I am. So I mean, because I definitely have found myself going through this tunnel of what am I doing over here? What am I doing over there?
Right.
And I love how you utilized what you saw in people. In terms of, okay, you may be in the marketing group, but your skill set is here. Or you may be in the executive assistant, but you love to style, and you were able to reach into their gifts and talents, pull it out, give them an opportunity to see themselves in this industry that will tell you, no, all you need to do is get a job.
Right.
9 to 5, and that's all you get in this. Help me build my empire. Help me get to the millions, as opposed to live in who you are. So I just want to commend you for that.
Yes.
Because a lot of people have that 9 to 5 and is looking at the doors that are open to them and are hesitating to step through that door because that's not where I want to go.
Right.
You got to go through it because it's leading you somewhere as it led you somewhere.
Or a lot of people, like, I'm going to use my real life story. So when I came to LA and I wanted to be an actress, but I always knew that I wanted to be this actress to help my family. But there's always a deeper why. You know what I mean? Help your family do what? What are you trying to, what's the solution?
Right.
And I didn't know that right away. It took some time for me to really find that, right? So I remember when I came here as an actress, and I was just trying to fit in. I would look at all these other girls who were actors. Oh, the straight long hair. Oh, the tight jeans crop top. Oh, it was this, it was that. And I remember going into these auditions and not knowing who I was.
Yeah.
So I'm bringing all of this, and they like, she all over the place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the cost of fame. You really don't know who you are, where you going, right? I remember I booked a film. It was called The Under Shepherd on TV One. And I met Melinda Williams. And I said, she's so beautiful and loving. And I remember asking her, can you give me some advice? Because I was so confused.
Yeah.
I'm like, can you just give me some advice? You know, this is my first year out here, and I don't know what I'm doing. I'm here doing featured background, and they just bumped me up, and I still don't know my place, you know? And she was like, listen, the one thing that I'm going to tell you is what I tell all my mentees. Stay true to you. And I was like, well, what is that? Who am I? Who am I? Right. And I would still go into these rooms, and casting directors would say, well, be more this, and come back wearing this. And the next time you come back, put some curls in your hair, but not too tight. And go see a dermatologist. And it was all these things that confused me even more. And it was like, okay, there really is a cost to this industry. How do I know what to do, how to do it, and how do I get to a place where I'm not trying to conform to the world? You know what I mean? Because the Bible clearly tells us, do not be conformed to the world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So how do I transform my mind? So I would like for you, if you can speak on, what do you tell your actors or your artists? You know, what do you tell them in order for them to grow, be themselves, and really truly live out their calling? And
like, what's step one?
Right.
Yeah.
It's interesting because when I was putting together an album, I was always, you know, when the A&Rs were actually like the gatekeepers. And so one A&R would be like, well, yeah, you should sing more songs kind of more like this, or you should use your higher register. It took me 10 years of going back and forth because at some point you just get confused on who you are from the beginning. You know, what was the initial goal that you had in mind? And so after 10 years, it really just took me saying, are you spending more time on trying to impress and shift based on what you think people want than you are on just the being of it? And I think the moment I understood that I was born to do this, I had to acknowledge what my force was, right? And that's what I do with my students and my clients. I'm like, what is it that you offer? Why do you care before you try to convince me to care?
Good.
Yes.
You know, what is your force? What is that one thing that makes you distinctive? What makes you memorable? And so I realized that my force was immeasurable energy, right? I got a lot of extra to pour into other people. So all our friends would be like, I just don't understand when you sleep. But I just think because I love seeing other people access their light, understand what their gift is, and how to communicate it, and then dominate with it. I just love seeing that happen. And so one of my clients currently, is Lil Nas X. So imagine going from obscurity to notoriety.
Yes.
Quickly.
Yes.
Right? Where you could go on the 7-Eleven and get a piece of gum, and now I got to find you sunglasses just to go in.
Or I gotta go get the gum because you can't even go in there.
Yeah. Right. I'm like, I'm the driver, but I got to park in the middle of the street, go in the
Yeah.
trunk, find sunglasses. And so I think my job is to help him build an arsenal that wasn't there, whether that's an arsenal of, emotional directives to pull from, an arsenal of performance, of movement, but it was never created, so he can't say, I remember when this show didn't go well back in whenever. Let me pull from that. How did I resolve that? How did I reconcile that in my spirit? So that now I know this is nothing different than that. And so it is for me, my job with him and all my clients is first identify why you care and why you're doing it.
Yeah. And let's remember, back in the day, because I come from music, but not really. Okay. But I just got thrown in it. No, I got thrown in it just because of me being an actress, and I was in this group and we were signed to Interscope. This was a long time ago.
Okay.
But what I think people forget in fame today is back then you actually had people who coached you through media, through training, artist development, how to speak, how to deal with all of this. The internet has kind of erased that and has given us this instant fame, we don't know what to say in the interview. Right. It's no type of grooming to get you where you are.
It's instant fame and instant falling off.
Seriously.
But do you think that comes from, because when people say they want to be an actress, they don't know that being a full out actress or a singer or whatever entertainment field you're in, it really is, it takes developing the talent, even developing yourself, honing your skills and your assets. What I want to say though, do you think that a lot of times when people don't think that out, for some, it comes from a desire of just becoming famous? And is that desire based off of the love that they're not getting or the affirmation that they're not getting? Because you got some people who come out here who was nothing in their community, and they come out here and it's like all of a sudden now there's something. But they just want to be in the spotlight, as opposed to, I have a message and a gift that God has given me, and I need to make sure I'm exemplifying that into the world in the best light, as opposed to I'm just out here and my name is such and such and I'm an A-list actor.
Oh Lord, but I feel like we saying fame come at a cost. We sitting in Los Angeles, California. LA comes at a cost.
LA is costly.
Everybody's trying to find themselves. I remember I started acting when I was a kid. I was 9 years old. And I remember I just used to love going in and being able to do this after school. Like, that was just fun. I didn't think about, am I good enough? I didn't think about, am I going to book it? It was just, go in here. You have way too much energy, kid. Go show these people something. And I loved that. Then I booked it. And then I got better. And then I booked again and again and again and again. And then at one point of my life, I stopped booking. And that was where my work began. Because as a kid, I was just doing what I felt I was gifted to do. I was blessed to be able to be on some big shows with big people doing big things. But then when that was taken from me, and I say it was taken from me because I really, really saw my career just shift and change. And when it did, I remember that was when the roller coaster and the spiral because I was finding who I was in my work. I wasn't finding who I was in my actual, like, this, I got this because of me. I found that, I got this because I'm good enough to be on this show. So when I stopped booking, the question was, am I not good enough anymore? But then this is what really got me. I took a minute of a break, and then when I came back, I was older. Had experienced some things. And I remember I probably one day, my friend told me he was so sad for me because I had about 55 scripts in my back seat. But I hadn't booked nothing. So the question was, Rock, how are you still doing this? How are you even still motivated to go in these rooms? And I realized I was 23 at the time, going in as a 9-year-old because I hadn't found who I was in that point of my life in the industry. It was a whole thing. My acting coach, one day she said, why don't you put the script down? I just want to see how you walk in the room. Because how you walk in the room will tell it all. You walk in with confidence, or do you walk in with, oh, if I book this job, I can pay them bills and I can pay. They see that. They feel the thirst when you walk in the room.
To answer your question, I have performers from every kind of walk of life and who have various goals. So I feel like there's singers or performers that have been like, I don't even like the word lit. I don't know why I was about to say that. Who have been
They lit.
okay on social media, right? And so right now their numbers were so high, they got signed. But to me, you always have to come back to the development. Like there's no circumventing. You may kind of go through obscurity to notoriety in a very quick time, but you've got to come back to the development process. I got artists that, you know, they're twerkers. I mean, in my job, I had to
Like seriously.
they're good at it, right? And I'm always like, that's not my forte. What I'm gonna make sure you do is when there's no twerking going on, and all you have to do is stand in front of the mirror and perform, that you're actually present. But I had to reconcile early on, my job is not to judge the art, right? However they come in, my job, if I'm gonna take the client or not, it's because I believe that I could make an impact on what they're doing. And then I have some artists that may have only wanted the fame. And then after that, I choose to say, hey, I don't think, this could be our last time and I think I'm okay. Because I'd say, hey, why don't you just, you know, make sure that you project when you're speaking and make sure that da-da-da. She'd be like, I just want them to make sure that they, you know, that they like me. I mean, I'm just trying to get them like, I was like,
So is that desire to not be loved or feel loved or get affirmed? Because
that is the way she's
as
affirming.
opposed to,
Yes.
I have a message that God has given me.
Agreed.
Okay.
But I can't judge whether they have a message.
Right.
I just don't see it.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just not as evident. But what is evident is that you're not that interested in kind of my directives as much as you're interested in making sure that you just get the crowd lit.
Well, here, okay. Because you know when I entered this arena in Los Angeles, one thing my husband asked is, "What are you willing to not do? What are you not gonna do?" And as we talk about the cost, for everyone that's here, what's the cost that you're not gonna pay? And what's the cost as an artist, developer? What do you suggest to those that you're helping to don't cross this line?
Yeah.
Because I know for me, especially on camera, I was booking a lot of roles, and I was looking over my the history of my portfolio. I'm like, I'm kissing somebody, everybody, and that's not acting. That's physical touch. So when I looked over, there's certain things in the physical aspects of things that I'm like, okay, this is a cost that I don't want to really spend everywhere. I don't want to do this in every role that I'm doing. I want to be able to give myself boundaries, or to know what am I willing to do and what am I not willing to do. And I find that there are things in terms of it's costly. Whether it's taking time away from our families or taking time to invest in your personal growth and development. Like you said, you took a step back from the industry for a while. That was a cost. So what are things that you're not willing to do? And what would you suggest? What do you in sharing with your artists, what is something that you're encouraging them to pay attention to that don't cross this line, because there is no point of return?
You want to go?
I can share.
Okay.
For one artist in particular, you know, we were working on a show and they were just a little bit despondent. And I kept saying, you know, what is it what's the trigger? You know, why aren't you as invested? And what he would say was, this is not my vision. And so I wanted to make sure that for all artists, not becoming a puppet, right? Understanding that if you're in it, it's got to speak to who you are. Because everybody has their own agenda, but making sure that yours is still front and center is the key for me. And so even in that, I said, tell me what we can do right now to make you more invested in this.
That's good.
And he gave me the, I was like, let's go. All right, so we need this, and this. And I think I could see his energy just become, you know, even more just like present. And he became excited about what he was doing because now his vision was part of it. For me as a coach, it's interesting because as a singer, as a performer, every day I was like, I had to be in the studio. I had to network. I had to go. And I was married at the time. Not anymore. Anybody's interested.
This black queen.
Social media handle is also provided
Right there.
below.
And so I realized that in that time, when someone doesn't have their own vision or they don't have a level of ambition that matches yours, they can't understand you.
Very true.
So the more you are being elevated, the more you see for yourself, the more insecure and unhappy they become. So it becomes this tug of war. And then I started almost picking apart myself. Like, well, maybe I'm just not that good. Let me just stop this over here and just be a wife. And I was like, but I know I was meant to do more than just this. I know this is just one of the verticals that God meant for me. And so now, because that was such a deep soul stirring part of my life, now I will not partner with anyone that does not see me.
I remember it was a few years back, and I have a friend who said, look, Megan Good got offered this big role, huge role, but she turned it down. And I'm like, she crazy. Why would she turn something like that down? Do you know who's doing that movie? Do you know who's... I had all these reasons of why she was crazy. But she turned it down because there was a scene of nudity. Mind you, she wasn't married at the time. But for her, she was like, I don't want to do that. And when I saw someone of Megan's stature making choices for her own self, because I'm telling you, the movie was huge. I'm not even going to go into what it was, but it was huge. Even to this day, it's still huge. But for her, that was her limit. She said, you know what? It's huge, but it's not for me. And at that moment was when I said, oh, I'm supposed to have boundaries.
Right.
Okay. So I remember recently there was a role that I went out for and I booked it. But there was a lot of stuff with this role. You know, and I saw the bigger picture, but God saw the specific picture. And God was like, I'll give it to you, because sometimes, this is why I love God. Sometimes he knows how bad we want something. So he'll give it to us because it's ours. Ooh, bless you, sis. Bless you, sis.
Baby sneeze.
Thank you.
Baby sneeze.
Thank you.
He'll give it to us, right? But he also is only going to let it go so far.
Absolutely.
And I'm thankful that he did, because I don't know the end from the beginning, but he does. And so I may have been walking along a path that I wasn't necessarily spiritually ready for. My family wasn't ready for it. I also would not have had any control of where they were going to take this character and what this character would have been doing. I don't know. I just wanted the role. But God said no. I mean, he gave it to me, but he didn't move it forward to where it could have potentially went. And I'm thankful for that, because I didn't necessarily know the boundaries I needed to set, but I tell God, I only want what you have for me. Even if it means I ain't going to book that role. Even if it means that character will take you too far off in your real life, and I ain't got time for that. The recovery time. So for me, it's really about finding things that I feel 100% comfortable in. And now that I'm not alone, I have to think about my husband and I need to think about my children.
That part.
Because at some point, they're going to be watching mama. And I want them to feel proud. I don't want any mixed signals from my kids saying, why is mama doing that? And where's her clothes? And I don't want to go through that. So I've just asked God to protect my career. And I don't want any role more than I want his provision and direction.
For me, mine's is simple. Like, honestly, when I first came out here, I was super green. Did not know anything, didn't really study acting and all of that, and I just thought I knew it all. I had it all together, had it all figured out, because everybody said I should be an actor. So I'm going to go prove me to be an actor, right? So I get out here and I go through all of the experiences of being sexual harassed and everything you can possibly think of. So it got to a place where God said, okay, I'm stopping your career right here, right now, because you didn't get it the first time, you didn't get it the second time, and you darn sure ain't about to get it this time. So I'm not going to move you forward anymore. I'm going to stand you here until you develop, until I develop you. So literally it took for God to develop me as one, a woman, as two, a woman of God, as three, a mother, as four, a mentor, and now a wife. I need you to make sure you are exemplifying who I created you to be. So I had to literally take a year away from the industry and figure out who I was. And when I came back, I had limits, I had boundaries, I had rules, and I had the power of no.
Hello.
I will not do it. I am okay. I'm not that desperate.
Yep.
I will wait till the next job come because I know what's for me is for me. And I know God has something greater. So it was literally that simple. And in that space, and I can't lie.
She tried to get it right 3 times. Oh, so
You got it. I won't try.
I can't do it.
But in that space, I learned so much about myself. One, God didn't limit me, so I'm not the person go begging for a job. I'm a person creating the job.
Amen.
Two,
Miss Producer.
two, I have a message. So anything I put out, I'm making sure it elevates you. It's showing you in this light. And it's not just we're getting naked just to be naked. No, what's the purpose of us being naked?
Yeah.
What story are we telling? So I think, yes, there was a cost that I had to pay for me to erase. I just want to be famous because I want to, help my mom. No, it's not about fame. For me, it's so much more bigger than that. I now, my cost is leaving a legacy. It's not about fame.
Yeah. Because one regret I do have was showing up on set. I booked a role and it was like an emergency booking, and Judy, we found your tape from 9 months ago. We need you on set. And to re-audition, I go re-audition, and then the next day I'm on set, like signed contract. Episode 1 is up. Let's go. And I read it, and the scene said, and then they had sex. And in my mind, I just thought, ooh, we fade to black.
You just assumed that.
I assumed it. And we didn't have a director session.
Nice body.
And they were establishing this character. So I'm on set like, okay, sure, okay. Oh, literally caught in this headlights of you said yes. And you didn't even know what you were saying yes to. So the cost I paid was literally having stamped in time an experience that I would have willingly participated in had I had the opportunity to ask the right questions and give my feedback. Because as you progress through life, you go through these seasons that if you hit the season 50 and you really only in season 5, you stumble along the way. You tarnish your process. You tarnish the developing stages of yourself, and then you miss steps of development. Right. So it's definitely important to not only have boundaries, but have your yeses before you get to say yes, and have your no's clearly defined so that when you come against that question, you know where to go.
Yeah. I have a question. Do you guys feel like now this is your passion or is it your ministry? And why do you feel like you surrender your wants and needs for God wants and needs, or did you just fall into it and like this is just my passion? Like what is it? What is your true thought to that? Is it your ministry or is it just a passion of yours?
Yeah, I can say unequivocally that I am in the midst of my ministry. I thought that I would be the singer for the rest of my life, but it was like pushing against a tide, so it was like for everything that I thought was a win, I would always get knocked back, and it wasn't until I understood that God said, I need you to take what you have, collected over the years and pour into other people, that he said, now I'll move you. Everything you thought you wanted, now I'm going to grant you, because now you're touching other souls in the process. And so I see it when people shift within because I always pray before I go in, but my prayer is let me meet them where they are, because I can always come in with my full curriculum, and then like I had one artist where I was like, all right, we're about to do this, and I get all these rappers, and I was like, we about to get this, and I was like, and he was like, yeah, I got to go in like 2 hours. I was like, no, but he said an hour. I said, I got you for 2, and he was like, all right, and I was like, all right, so what you need to do? And so he went and told his car he was going to stay, and so in the midst of it, I was just like, okay, Lord, he doesn't want to be here. So I get artists that are sent from the label. It's not their idea. So I said, okay, it doesn't matter what my curriculum is. I need him to understand the purpose of the importance and the importance. And so after a while, I said, what did you think when you did that? And he was like, it's all right.
And so I always say that my job is I can't wait to access the energy in the room. Like I have to shoot beyond it, and you're just gonna have to rise up. So I was like, okay, that was a great job. All right, let's try it again. He was like, all right. All right. And so after a while, you know, again, it was the whole time I'm like, okay, Lord, this is a long session. We got 2 hours. I said, tell me what you want me to say in this. And so, you know, he had given a lyric, and I think within the same phrase, he talked about someone passing and then the love for his niece. And I said, but you look the same in both. Like, nothing shifted. And then finally, I was like, okay, let's turn off the music. I said, I know where you're from. I just had to get on into my Chicago.
So now you had to
I
minister.
was like, yes. I said, I know where you're from, and most don't make it out.
Yeah.
I said, you're performing like that you from Calabasas. I need you to perform like I know where you're from.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and represent the people that may not get as far as you got. And so he was like,
That's true.
It's her ministry because she had to start ministering, and it sounds like that's what you do with most of your artists.
yeah, it's more of an emotional contract. Like the bonus is, okay, I need you to emote when you get to this side of the stage, when you get to this part of the song. But it's more of, what do you think about yourself first? Because these are just lyrics. I need them to come alive because you believe them. But what do you think about yourself long before we see the output?
Yeah.
It's really the internal narrative. And so, I've understood that we need to just first, just have a meeting of the mind to see what you think about yourself and how I can add value. Maybe I can't add value. Maybe I ain't got nothing for you.
Yeah.
You know, but the prayer is always, whoever he sends me, to make sure that I'm walking in fully equipped with what I need to speak to them in any way. I've had artists that have come in and they're like, this is how I do about it. And I was like, oh, that's great. Now I just want you to talk.
Yeah.
Like, just tell me the lyric. It's a conversation long before melody adds it to the song.
Yeah.
You know? And so I said, let's have the conversation. And then they've broken down and cried. You know? And I was just like, okay, Lord, now the work begins. You know?
Yeah.
And I was like, so what's your point? I'm always like, what is your point of view? Why are we here? What are you trying to say? Because that will project a song forward long than just the beat and your delivery to hit every note. Like what's behind the note? And so I am fully aware that this is something that every day I have to make sure I have enough in my arsenal to fuel them so that they walk away better off than how I found them.
Minister.
Yeah, that is your
So
ministry.
guys, really quickly.
I'll say that in front of the camera, I just love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm happy. I'm excited. I'm in a great expectation of how to create and how to produce something that is from a thought within the body onto film. I love it. What's going on behind the scenes is my ministry. And what's going on behind my scenes is my husband and I. We're constantly in this song and dance of how to work together. And I know we're in the developing stages of how to be able to be successful there, to share that with other family businesses, if that makes sense. Like, how do you run a household and run a business and be successful in all these different areas? But in front of the camera, it's just my happy place.
Yeah.
Behind the camera, God is kicking our butts because it is important for us to serve our community.
For me, it's my ministry, and it's very simple. When I'm on camera, when I'm off camera, I know that I am here to give a message. I'm on assignment in everything I do. If I get booked on that project, it's because I am the solution. I am needed. God is about to use me to go bring some light, to go shine some love, to do whatever it is, whether I just got to go pray for somebody's family or whatever. Everything I do, when I'm working a job that I create or a job that I book, it's, Lord, I thank you for this assignment. Use me as your will, because I'm here for you. I'm just your vessel. So even though it's joyful and it's I love doing it, I always know that I am here on assignment. So I know for a fact everything I do, all the gifts and talents, whether I'm doing somebody's hair, all the gifts and talents God has given me, it's because it's an assignment.
Mine is so weird. I actually just came into my ministry probably in the past year, like last year. So for me, my whole life, I've been acting and I felt, God, this is what you put me here to do. But in 2016, that complete assignment changed and he gave me a new assignment. And I was like, what is this? I don't even know why I care, to be honest. But he was like, I birthed you for this. My passion is acting. I love it.
Yeah.
It's like I can, give me a script, I'm fine.
Do it for free, but not really.
Not really. God. But my ministry is homelessness. I love the homeless community. It's ridiculous. I never knew I would care this much. I will go and sit. I will hang out. Most of my really close, good friends, they're on the streets. They're living on the streets. I'm constantly finding ways to go and pour out over there. So I started a nonprofit organization called Revive LA. And it was because when I was living in Hollywood, in this amazing place that I thought was my purpose for being in Hollywood, I realized that my neighbors, when I walked to Starbucks, it was the homeless community. And I said, okay, wait a minute, Lord, this is deep for me. I don't even understand, like I said, why I care. I've never faced homelessness. I've never been in this situation, but God showed me at that time, this is what I birthed you for. It was so specific that when the nonprofit got published, it was published on my birthday. Wow. Like God said, Raquel, you an actress, all that's great. I'm only giving you that so that you could have a platform. So that these people on the street can know that you actually care. You're not doing it for the church. You're not doing it for notoriety. You're doing it because I really put a special little seed on the inside of you that's connected to them. So that is my ministry. And I spend more time dreaming and thinking of ways to progress this and end this than I do even my acting.
Before we close, what piece of gift can you give to the audience in 2 seconds that will help them in their journey of not having to go in circles of trying to be in that cost thing where it's I'm trying to be famous or I need to figure out what my purpose, my ministry is. So just if we can all just give 2 seconds of our gift to the audience.
Sure. I would
2
say
seconds, ladies. 2 seconds, ladies.
I would say that we are all here to influence in some way, and influence means the force that you have being able to persuade people, which means you were born with the force. And once you identify your force and you're able to project it, and you know that you were already born a light, then there's nothing you can't do in this world. You can dominate in your respective disciplines. So access that, occupy all your space. Wherever you stand, that is your stage, and utilize it as such. 2 seconds.
I'd say, and with the cost of fame, know that you are so valuable. Know your value before you start spending it in areas that you should not.
Yeah. Same for me. I would say what Melinda Williams has said to me, stay true to you. And the only way to know who you are is to know who your God is. So find out who your God is, and then you will be able to walk out your true calling and purpose.
I would say that fame is fleeting. It's here today, it's gone tomorrow. So find a deeper purpose and a deeper reason for living, because if it's only fame, you'll constantly be looking for more and more and more of it. It's like a drug. Find you, love you, and know that great people are always famous. Famous people don't necessarily become great. So
that's good.
Absolutely.
Well, we just want to thank KJ Rose.
Thank you, girl.
You can follow her. Her social media handle is right here. Follow her. Make sure you support her, and she might develop you.
Hello.
On this Soulful Sunday, we just want to say we are so full of life, so full of love.
Soulful Sunday.